Welcome back to Normal Guy Games. Please like and subscribe. So recently a friend of mine asked me to paint a model for him. He picked up a copy of this Lethal Shadows Flora Fae, and it's a very interesting model. There are some nooks and crannies that are kind of hard to get to, but it is, in the end, quite a beautiful model, and the paint job on it is astounding if you put the right colors down. You want something bright for this particular thing. Now here you can see me just putting down the base coats. This is me working with a heavy body acrylic and just putting down just the basics of the petals, the skin, the hair, and I am doing multiple thin coats here. So this is just the first coat over top of a prime of black and then white and then sage. And the key to painting this for me was to use a lot of very thin layers to build up that color. And I did do some wet blending as well because of the fact that I was using the heavy bodied acrylics by scale 75. So the wet blending process allows you to put colors together and kind of mix everything up and really make it look really good. So moving on to the petals, I used the same color for the petals on that she's wearing as a bra and for her hair as I did for the flower. And I took some of that bright pink that I've been using from scale 75, and I brushed that onto the ends of the flower while the paint was still wet, keeping in mind of course that heavy bodied acrylics they stay wet a little bit longer and they allow you a little bit of a longer working time. And then what I did is I took some more of that purple, that cobalt violet color, and I mixed that into the pink and I kind of brushed both together. Now what I did here, what I'm doing here is actually I'm going back and doing another highlight on the skin and another couple of highlights on some various areas, including the hair, the petals, and a few other places where I wanted the color to shine a little more brighter, a little more clear. And I'm using, once again, these wet blending methods to get that lighter color on top of the raised areas. And this is basically a kind of a continuation of what I was doing earlier. This is me just clearing up a little of the colors, a bit of the blending. And as you can see, I'm kind of reestablishing some of that violet color on some of the inner edges. And I'm taking that pink and I'm putting that pink on the very edges of the petals and in a few key places on her the petals that she's using on her body. And once again, I am using the wet blending method to kind of strengthen that color without overpowering it. And these heavy-bodied acrylics work really well for that. I'm very happy with the way that the cobalt violet color and the pink interact in this way. So moving on to the rest of the models, what I'm doing here is I'm using some Death World green to do the basics of the vines that are behind her. And why I use this color, I do have some darker greens and I could have mixed like a brown or something in there, but again, I kind of wanted this model to have a little bit of brightness to it. I wanted it to stand out and I wanted it to pop. So I covered all of those vines in that Death World green. And then while that was drying, I went back yet again and I put another very, very light coat of the pale flesh color over top of the pink and pale flesh that was already there to once again bring out that bright color and those bright highlights and bring those to the forefront. And as you can see, I'm also doing it once again with that purple color, that cobalt violet color. And I'm doing that on some of the raised areas and some of the larger areas and the areas that are a little more prominent, like the top of her hair and the tops of the petals and the tops of the petals that are on her chest. And that's just me trying to once again establish those bright, vibrant colors. Now, this was a two-stage thing, this part. I first washed everything with the Athonian Camo Shade. It's basically, it's a shade is what it is. It's Athonian Camo Shade. It's a wash from Games Workshop. Now, I ended up deciding that I wanted the vines to be a little darker in the background. So I added an Agrax Earth shade to that. Now moving on, I am establishing once again some of that pink and purple, and if you see, what I've done here is I've added several different layers of that same couple of colors. And I also kind of hit that area with Carroburg Crimson, and unfortunately I did lose that part of the footage, but the Carroburg Crimson is washed into the center, and I did get some of it elsewhere, and that's when I'm kind of pulling that back out. Now once again, for the vines, I am pulling a lighter color here. This is, I believe, Arook Flesh, if I'm not mistaken, and I use that to paint the thorns that are on the vines. Now, this is what she looks like in the end, and I think she looks pretty good. I ended up buying one, buying a second one. One basically it would be for myself because I felt like I didn't do a good enough job on the first one. So this is what the second one looks like. I used a lot of reds and greens and a lot more vibrant colors, and I tried to make those shadows on the vines kind of a little darker and deeper. And this is what they look side by side. Anyway, it's a lovely model, very excellent model. Lethal Shadows does do some very good sculpts. And I am very glad that I went back and bought another of these, and I gave my friend the option of choosing which one he liked. He ended up choosing the first one I painted, which is the one with the purple flower, which is good for me because I like the one with the red flower. It actually kind of, to me, reminds me of Poison Ivy from Batman. So anyway, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.